Western Conference semifinal game 2 between the Nuggets and Blazers. The Nuggets looked really good in game 1 last night. Different story. Ooh. The Blazers led throughout. They had a great game defensively against the Nuggets. They had a balanced performance from the Blazers. What did you think about the Blazers last night?
Well, I think it's a great win for them. They went on the road, got a win with their best player who's had a great playoffs, having an off night, didn't shoot it well. Didn't score a lot of points. They survived 23 offensive rebounds from the Nuggets, 14 of them in the fourth quarter. To have all of that happen and still walk out with a win, that's a huge night for Portland.
I mean, the Blazers offense, like you said, Dame didn't have a great night, but Rodney Hood contributed and Enes Kanter contributed. It was nice to see other people step up. What did you think about the contributions of players like Hood and Kanter and McCollum?
Yeah, no, look, I mean, we know McCollum. I mean, the guy's a star. He may not get talked about all the time, but he's a star. So nothing surprising there. But Rodney Hood's been up and down. That was a big performance last night.
Rodney Hood's been up and down his entire career, let's be honest. Yeah,
you know, he does. He's a little bit of a tease. You see him at his best, and you go, wow, this guy's really, really good. You see him at other times, you're like, he's not doing anything. But Kanter has really stepped up the entire playoffs. You know, we all bemoaned the loss of Nurkic, but this guy's been outstanding. And then the guy we didn't talk about, who I thought did a great job last night, was Zach Collins off the bench. You know, I mean, scored the ball. He's good defensively. I think he's going to be a very good player in this league. Anytime you can get a win on the road in Portland without Damian Lillard having a great night, it's huge.
And Enes Kanter's an interesting story. I mean, you know, I live in New York, so I pay attention to the Knicks, and he wasn't getting playing time. He was picked up by the Blazers, and they're probably someone they're looking to play 10 minutes to back up Nurkic. All of a sudden, Nurkic goes down, and now Kanter's thrust in this position. He's really stepped up this series, but everyone says, oh, you can't play him because of defense. But he's played pretty well defensively. What did you see from him against Nurkic?
Yeah, look, I think he's not as good defensively against the pick and roll as Nurkic is.
No.
But he's done a lot better job than people thought he could. And it's these kind of midseason pickups, I think, that general managers in particular don't get enough credit for. I mean, nobody talked about, oh, what a great move when Neil O'Shea picked up Enes Kanter.
No.
But it becomes a huge move. You know,
in every series, guys like Gasol. Like in every series, there's someone.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody. Well, the Gasol move got a little bit more attention. Like I lived down in Orlando, and they picked up Michael Carter Williams. You know, and everybody was like, he played great for him, got him into the playoffs, and they played a fairly competitive series in the first round. The general managers, I think a lot of times, everybody's just looking at the marquee moves. These are the moves that make a huge difference. There's no way we're watching Portland playing basketball at this time of year if they don't make that Enes Kanter.
That's a really good point. And then Portland, as we know, got swept in the last 2 seasons. And, you know, everyone talks about CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard. Well, CJ McCollum scored 20 points last night. He was 8 for 20 from the field, had himself a really good game. And the chorus last season around this time was, well, we got to break up this backcourt. We got to break up this backcourt. Do you feel that these two are too redundant to be a starting backcourt moving forward?
Not at all. Look, first of all, the league's gotten smaller. Second of all, having shooting is obviously a premium. Having multiple ball handlers is important. And these may be the 2 best leaders at the top of a rotation of anybody in the league. They have a great relationship between them. There's no signs of any jealousy. They have great, it seems anyway, great relationship with their coach, Terry Stotts. A lot of mutual respect. Their teammates seem to love both of them. Look, everybody around the league was hoping Neil O'Shea would make one of them. Well, probably
because one of them would end up in a different uniform.
But I don't think anybody actually thought that he should. He's done a great job keeping them together, and they're showing what they're all about.
One of the things I love about McCollum's game is there's so much focus on this sort of like James Hardification of the game. Layups, free throws, three-pointers, layups, free throws, three-pointers. McCollum's like, you know what? I'll hit 15-foot jump shots all day.
Well, we've seen the analytics sort of turned on its head here in these playoffs, to be quite honest. And my brother and I were talking a couple of days ago, and he made a great point to me. We might need to reassess, and maybe the analytics aren't the same in the playoffs because people are trying to take away threes and layups and free throws. And so we've seen guys in the mid-range game
Look at Kevin Durant.
thriving. 55% of Kevin Durant's shots in the playoffs are mid-range or mid-range twos, and he's the leading scorer in the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard's living on the pull-up jumper. CJ McCollum, well, we've seen it turned on in. It's a viable threat. The mid-range game is not dead. In fact, it's important at this time of year.
I'm glad you brought that up because I definitely believe that as well. And one thing you said that was really smart is the analytics, right? They talk about the sample size. Well, you've got 82 regular season games, but the game changes in the playoffs, and maybe the mid-range is more valuable there. How is playoff basketball different than regular season basketball?
Well, I think, clearly, you're playing only against good teams in the playoffs.
Yep.
Right? Number one. Number two, the intensity is up. Nobody's taking possessions off at this time of year. And then number three, the preparation is so much more extensive in what you're trying to do. So the analytics tell you, and I heard it said on the broadcast last night, Michael Malone's okay giving up the mid-range jumper. And I think a lot of teams are
Guess
like
what? We're okay taking the mid-range jumper.
Well, and so a lot of times you're playing against a good defensive team. It's hard enough just to get a good shot. I don't think you can always determine which ones you're going to take. This is the shot their defense offered up. We've got to take it and knock it down.